You were the smart one, the gifted kid, the promise, the pressure, all in one. You answered fast, you got it right, you made it look easy. So they clapped, and you smiled. Even when it hurt, they called you brilliant, but no one asked if you were okay. Now you're older, and everything feels blurry, heavy, quiet. You stare at the ceiling and wonder, how did I get so lost when I was supposed to know the way? This episode is not here to fix you. It's here to sit beside you, to hold space, to say the thing no one said. You're not failing, you're just finally feeling. You wake up already tired, not just in your body, but somewhere deeper, a kind of weariness that sleep doesn't touch. You scroll, you get dressed, you go through the motions. But the spark is gone, and what scares you is you don't know when you lost it. You were supposed to become something, someone, the smart one, the successful one, the proof that all that potential meant something. But now, you don't even know what something was. People still say you're intelligent. They still expect you to figure things out. They still come to you for answers. But no one asks if you're okay. They never really did. Because being the smart one always meant being the stable one. The one who doesn't break, the one who keeps going, no matter what. And you learned that early. That brilliance was currency. If you were bright enough, useful enough, right enough, you'd matter. So you worked hard, you solved things, you stayed ahead. They clapped, and you smiled, even when you were crumbling. No one saw the pressure behind your eyes, the weight of never messing up, the panic behind every perfect answer. You were the kid who made it look easy, so they never asked how hard it really was. And you got good at hiding it, the fear, the burnout, the voice in your head whispering, if I slow down, everything will fall apart. So you didn't. You stayed sharp, you stayed reliable, you stayed exhausted. The applause kept coming, but it stopped meaning anything. Because what they were clapping for wasn't you. It was the version of you that produced, performed, proved, not the part that questioned, or broke down, or didn't know. You weren't seen, you were used, admired maybe, but not understood, and that's what hurts the most. That even now, as an adult, you're still trying to earn safety, still trying to prove you're worth keeping around. Still performing smart when all you want is to feel real. You've been smart for so long, you don't know who you are without it. It's not that you're afraid of being stupid, you're afraid of being nothing if you're not constantly exceptional. No one taught you how to rest, how to ask for help, how to be loved when you're not achieving. You were raised to win, not to feel, to succeed, not to process, to impress, not to connect. And now you're here, burnt out, disconnected, looking around at a life that looks fine on paper but feels hollow. You wonder what went wrong, but maybe nothing did. Maybe you're not broken. Maybe you're grieving the childhood where love came with conditions. Grieving the years you spent being a performance. Grieving the self you never had time to become. And maybe that grief, that quiet ache you carry, is the first honest thing you felt in a long time. There's something sacred in that, something brave, because naming your tiredness isn't weakness. It's the beginning of coming home to yourself. Not the gifted kid, not the achiever, just you, tired, tender, still here, and maybe that's enough. It starts small, a compliment, a gold star, a look of approval when you get it right, and something inside you clicks. This is how I matter. This is how I stay safe. So you build around that. You learn which parts of you are acceptable and which parts are too much. The anger, too loud, the sadness, uncomfortable, the confusion, embarrassing. But intelligence, achievement, control, that gets rewarded, that keeps you close, that keeps you loved. So little by little you hide the rest. You become what they need, the one who's always composed, the one who makes it look effortless, the one who never makes a scene. You build a self that feels safe. Predictable, admirable, unshakable, and it works, at least for a while. You succeed, you're praised, you're chosen, but slowly something shifts. You begin to notice the cracks. Because the self you built, the one everyone admires, isn't the whole story. It's not the part of you that breaks at 2 a.m. It's not the voice that whispers, "I don't want to do this anymore." It's not the ache you feel when you realize you don't know what you want. You only know how to win. That's the thing about masks. You wear them for protection, but over time they don't come off, they harden, they cling to your skin. And one day you look in the mirror and see someone you don't quite recognize. You've been so good at being who they needed that you forgot to ask, "Who am I?" when no one's watching. You feel numb, not because you don't feel, but because feeling was never safe. You analyze instead. You explain. You intellectualize everything. It's how you coped. It's how you survived. You turned pain into patterns, grief into goals, loneliness into productivity, because being busy hurts less than being still. But now the cracks are wider, the numbness heavier, the questions louder. You can't outrun it anymore. The cage, the one you built to feel safe, has become the reason you feel stuck. And it's hard to admit that. Hard to say, "I created this version of me, but now I don't know how to leave." Because who are you without it? What happens when you let go of being brilliant and just become? Maybe that's what you're afraid of most. Not failure, but emptiness. What if you slow down and there's nothing underneath? No clear identity, no plan, no answers, just space, just questions, just you, raw and unfinished, and still trying to believe that even this version is worth loving. But here's the truth you've been circling around. You don't have to earn your way out of the cage. You only have to admit you're in one. That brilliance became your shield. Perfection became your currency. Success became your language. But now, none of it feels like home. Not because you're failing, but because you're waking up to the truth that underneath all the achievement, there's a real you waiting. Soft, scared, strong in a different way. The kind of strength that doesn't need applause. And maybe, just maybe, you're allowed to take off the armor. Not all at once, not forever, but just long enough to take a breath and say, "I'm tired of proving, I'm tired of hiding, I'm tired of being the version of me that hurts to maintain." There's grief in that. Of course there is. Because that version of you, it kept you alive, it kept you safe, it brought you here, but it was never meant to be permanent. You don't have to hate it, you can thank it, and still outgrow it. Some cages are made of steel, yours was made of praise, and sometimes that's harder to leave, because on the outside it looks beautiful, admired, respected, but inside, you're shrinking. You're gasping for air, you're wondering if anyone would still love you without the mask, without the answers, without the act. So here's the question. If you stopped performing, who would still be there? If you stopped winning, what would still matter? If you stopped being the smart one, what kind of life would you create just for you? No rush, no pressure, just wonder. Let that be your starting place, not to fix, not to achieve, just to ask, softly, bravely, honestly. What if I'm already enough, even now? There's a quiet kind of strength that doesn't get praised, the kind that doesn't show up on stage, the kind that doesn't get medals or applause. It's the strength of staying with yourself, of not running, not fixing, not performing, just being here, in your skin, in your breath, in your truth. It's not loud, it's not glamorous, but it's real. And right now, that's what you need most, something real. You've spent years being the strong one in ways that broke you. Now it's time to be strong in ways that hold you. You don't need to push, you don't need to prove, you don't need to be back on track. Because maybe there's no track anymore. Maybe there's just this moment, this you, and the choice to soften even slightly. That's strength. Saying no when your reflex is to say yes. Pausing when your instinct is to perform. Letting yourself feel even when it's messy, even when it doesn't come with a solution. And I know how hard that is. You've been wired to fix everything before it breaks, to stay 2 steps ahead of the fall. But sometimes healing doesn't mean staying ahead. It means letting it fall, letting what's no longer true collapse, so something else can grow in its place. Maybe you don't need a plan right now. Maybe you just need presence, to sit with the you who's tired, to hold the ache without rushing it away, to say you don't have to be okay yet. I'm not going anywhere. That's strength, that's love, that's what the smart kid never got to learn, that being held is just as important as being right. So hold yourself now, gently, the way you always wanted to be held, not with answers, just with attention. Look at the life you built, the one that kept you safe. Thank it. And then start asking new questions. What do I actually enjoy? What makes me feel alive? What hurts and why have I ignored it? What kind of connection am I starving for? These aren't easy questions, but they're honest ones. And maybe for once you're ready to stop being impressive and start being whole. Let the silence teach you. Let the slowness rewire you. Let rest be your protest. Let softness be your rebellion. You were told strength was in how much you carry, but real strength might be in how much you finally put down, and you get to choose now. You get to say, I want something gentler, I want something true, I want a life that doesn't require me to disappear in order to belong. That's not weakness, that's clarity, that's coming home. And if it still feels unfamiliar, that's okay. You've lived so long behind the mask that of course your face feels strange in the light, but you're here, you're breathing, you're learning a new way. And that's enough. You're enough. Not later, not once you fix it, not once you explain it. Now, right now. Maybe healing isn't a moment, maybe it's a series of quiet returns, back to your body, back to your breath, back to the version of you that never needed to be impressive to be worthy. You don't need to rush this. You've spent enough years hurrying, enough years chasing, enough years trying to catch up to some version of success that was never yours to begin with. Now, you get to slow down. You get to listen. You get to ask softer questions, the kind that don't demand answers, only honesty. What do I want to feel? What do I want to remember? What do I want to let go of? Not because I failed, but because I've outgrown it. You're allowed to start small, with a breath, a walk, a quiet refusal, a gentler yes. You're allowed to feel unsure, to move slowly, to not know where this leads. Because this isn't a race, this is a return, and no one gets to define what that looks like for you. Some days, you'll still feel lost. Some mornings, the pressure might come back. The mask might slip on without you noticing. That's okay. That's not failure. That's muscle memory. You've practiced perfection for a long time. Now you're learning something new, how to be present. So give yourself grace, give yourself time. Speak to yourself like you would a tired child, with patience, with care, with warmth. You're not late. You're just arriving, at a life that fits, at a truth that holds, at a self that feels like home. No more chasing, no more performing, just this moment, just you, breathing, softening, beginning again, and that is enough. If this touched something quiet inside you, thank you for listening. Thank you for staying. If it helped you feel a little less alone, feel free to follow or leave a gentle like so someone else can find it too. Until next time, keep softening, keep becoming.